today. Now, we have come to the last topic in the morning session of today's conference. As you know, the environment is now an issue that is prioritized globally by practically everyone. And here to speak on innovating the energy sector when citizens control their energy consumption is a speaker with new perspectives on this important topic. So it is a pleasure to introduce the co-founder and chairman of Power Ledger, Dr. Jemma Green.
Good afternoon, Bangkok. Energy systems globally have remained relatively unchanged for the better part of a century, characterised by big power stations, typically coal and gas-fired power, transmission lines, distribution lines, bringing electricity to people's homes and businesses. But in the past 15 years, a new system has begun to emerge, characterised by distributed renewables. Oops. Just go back. So new investment in clean technologies now exceeds 350 gigawatts per annum. And this is tracking consistently for the past 5 or so years. The growth story translates to carbon markets, which are in excess of $100 billion per year, and that is including renewable energy certificate markets and carbon markets. New wind and solar accounts for 150 gigawatts of new installed capacity coming online every year. Cumulative storage is in excess of 1 gigawatt per annum and growing substantially, and you can see the breakdown of countries here. At the same time, the cost of these is coming down considerably. And you can see this reflected in battery prices, and this is to date. And the forward price for batteries are coming down significantly as well. And that's as a result of mass production for both batteries within electric vehicles, which represents about 1/3 of the cost of an electric vehicle, and also batteries installed in homes and businesses and on the grid. Now, it's not just a matter of swapping out traditional energies with renewables. You need a way of bringing this market together, and Power Ledger has pioneered a technology using the blockchain that makes this market more fluid and responsive. We use the blockchain to do 3 things: facilitate the trading of energy, the financing of energy projects, and the trading of environmental commodities, things like renewable energy certificates. Our signature product is XGrid, and that is peer-to-peer trading across the grid. And this means that households that have solar panels are able to sell to their neighbours directly using our platform. In Thailand, the government has signalled its intention to change the regulations to facilitate peer-to-peer trading of energy widespread. And they're in the process of creating regulatory sandboxes to enable these trials to occur at some scale to inform the writing of the new regulation. And we're really proud to be partnering with BCPG, who are listed on the Thai Stock Exchange and have more than 350 megawatts of renewables in their portfolio. And our first project in Thailand is actually in Bangkok, in the T77 precinct. And we have 700 kilowatts of solar that is being traded across 6 commercial buildings, which include a shopping centre, apartment building and a hospital. And this is actually the largest commercial peer-to-peer project in the world. Our next project with BCPG is partnering with a property developer called SC Asset, And this will start with 80 homes just outside of Bangkok and grow to 1,800 homes over the next 7 years. To start with, peer-to-peer trading will be just involving solar, but in the later years, batteries will be included as a part of a virtual power plant. In the US, we're working with American PowerNet, an energy supplier, and actually at their head office, they have a lot of solar, more than they need, and it was spilling out onto the network and they weren't being paid for it. So using our platform, they are now trading that with their neighbours and monetising that surplus solar, and the neighbours buying it are saving 11% on their energy. This is a photograph of the building with the solar. Yesterday, we are very excited to have announced our first project in Europe, which is in Austria, partnering with Energy Steiermark. This is a project starting with 10 homes in the suburb of Graz and will grow over time. And Energy Steiermark are very excited for the potential for using our technology to empower their customers, and they're a top 5 retailer in Austria. Our virtual power plant product means that people with batteries can dispatch electricity in the peak and be paid for that, get an enhanced payback to pay back their battery investments sooner. In Japan, we're partnering with KEPCO, the largest privately owned utility there, supporting the creation of a virtual power plant in Osaka. And we've just successfully completed this project, and we'll soon be announcing our next project with KEPCO. Ugrid is peer-to-peer trading within a microgrid. So that could be a shopping centre, an apartment building, an office building, or a retirement village. And we have a project in Thailand partnering with BCPG at Chiang Mai University on its campus to install 12 megawatts of solar on the campus buildings. And by the end of this year, 8 megawatts will be installed, and we're very excited about this project as a part of their Smart Cities initiative in Chiang Mai. In Perth, where I'm from, we have 3 apartment buildings with 45 apartments that all have solar and batteries installed. And as a result of that, they're supplying 80% of their energy needs from this system. And this is a partnership with the Australian Federal Government and the West Australian Government and Curtin University. These are some of the apartment buildings, and this is really interesting because the property developers noticed that the apartments sold faster as a result of having these features. So although it added to some cost up front, it meant that the operating costs for the building were lower, and customers wanted that to reduce their operating costs, and it increased the speed of sales. And this is some of the residents and visitors that have come to see the project. ASX, Australian Stock Exchange listed shopping centre company Vicinity, has partnered with us to install solar across many of its shopping centres in Australia, and as part of the $75 million investment, they are adding electric vehicle charging stations to their shopping centres and using our platform to trade energy with the tenants within the shopping centres and eventually across the grid. And I think shopping centres are starting to see themselves beyond the traditional means of just renting space, and are starting to install apartment buildings on top of shopping centres and see themselves as a transportation hub as well. The International Renewable Energy Agency, IRENA, has said that investment in renewables needs to be scaled up 6 times faster for the world to meet the Paris climate goals. And so we pioneered a product to help with that. It's called Asset Germination Events. And it means that everyday people can invest in and co-own a solar farm, a bit of a solar farm or a battery or a wind farm. We're really excited about this product, and we'll be launching this in the next few months. And it means that cryptocurrency holders can diversify their portfolio into real assets. One of the first projects that will be fractionalizing on the blockchain using the asset germination product is in Fremantle, and it's this battery here. It's a 670 kilowatt hour battery, and if you're interested, you will soon be able to invest in and co-own a piece of this battery and a commercial scale solar system as well. The idea is that developers of these projects are able to syndicate ownership to the market using the blockchain and bring new sources of capital to help fund the energy transition. Our third portfolio area is around the trading of environmental commodities, things like renewable energy certificates and carbon credits, and we call this C6 and C6+. C6 is automating the issuance for credits, and C6+ is the secondary trading market. We have a project with Silicon Valley Power, which is on C6, the issuance, and we've connected to the second largest electric vehicle charging station in California to automate the process to request regulator issues a particular credit called the Low Carbon Fuel Standard. We're very excited about this because it demonstrates that you can start to allocate the carbon credits to the electric vehicle that is charging it. And so there is the ability for electric vehicles to generate income for themselves and effectively be cash machines on wheels. We also have a new partnership with Clearway Energy in the US. They're a developer of energy projects and have about 6 gigawatts in their portfolio. They're a big participant in the renewable energy certificate market there, and the C6+ product will be used to create a liquid and efficient secondary trading market, and we'll be providing more details on that soon. How do we use the blockchain? In the three different product areas, let me talk you through that. So in terms of the asset, we fractionalize the asset on the blockchain and create a tokenized representation of ownership. For energy trading, we connect to smart meters, and that measures how much electricity a particular asset generates and is consumed. That creates a record of a transaction and a payment. And as a result of that energy, the ability for a renewable energy certificate or carbon credit is able to be generated as well. And that is created in a tokenized format and can be traded. We have what we call a twin token model. Power tokens and sparks. Sparks are a stable coin or a tokenized unit of electricity. That is actually a cryptographic token. 1 unit of spark is 1 cent, or the lowest denomination in a particular currency, in a particular country rather. And everyday people use sparks to trade peer-to-peer with each other. Power is what utilities need or asset owners need to sell their customers sparks, and they require a certain amount of power tokens as a proportion of sparks, and they're locked up in a smart bond to ensure that sparks can be redeemed back into dollars or fiat currency. In terms of the physical requirements for creating a project, smart meters are an essential part of this. Then there is the network connectivity to actually read that, and the more frequently the meters can be read, the more of a live and real-time trading environment that can be created. That information is aggregated on the cloud, and then data is written to the blockchain and forms the basis of the transaction. Powerledger is 3 years old. When we set up our company 3 years ago, we just had a small project south of Perth. Now we have projects in Thailand, the US, Japan, Australia, and Austria. When we set up the company, we had it with the corporate mission to democratize power. As I mentioned at the beginning of my talk, energy markets have remained relatively unchanged for the better part of a century, and it's not just a matter of swapping out traditional energies with renewables. We need to create the market mechanism to get the right physical outcome in our energy system. If we don't, consumers are likely just to size their systems to self-supply. Whereas if we can create the transactive and market mechanism, they're encouraged to stay connected and trade with each other, which means that the grid becomes more utilised over time, and it will maintain its relevance, because even with the best payback period, not everyone can afford to invest in solar panels, and the grid is still an essential service that is required in many instances, particularly in inner city areas where you could never fit enough renewables on the rooftops to supply, and for things like hospitals and lower income communities. And so getting the market mechanism right is really essential to get the physical outcomes right in our energy system. And so I'm really excited that Thailand is pioneering so much on the energy market of the future, and I think will become a blueprint for what the energy system of tomorrow will look like. And so Powerledger's vision and mission as well is to be a major contributor to the Paris climate goals and impact the lives of 1 billion people. At the moment, our projects are small scale, but over the next year, you'll start to see more megawatts and more users added to the platform. And we're really excited for what the future may bring. Thank you.